Hey everyone, Effie here. Today I'm going to make a card using a combination of our products. We're going to start with our Folk Tree Coverplate layering dies. There are 3 dies to this collection. The first die is the one on the left with the double stitch line. This one is the second die with the solid cut line tree. So I'm just going to show you this up close. You can see that double stitch line. That's how you know this is layer 1. So we're going to take an A2 card panel and we're going to place it inside our A2 first layer cover plate die and run this through our die cutting machine. Then we're going to take that die cut panel, pop out all the pieces, and then this is what that panel looks like after we've cut it with the first layer. Then we're going to take this and then we're going to place it along the second layering die, and you can tell it's a second layering die by taking a look at that solid tree cut line. And we're going to place the A2 panel over the second die, run it through our die cutting machine, and now this is the resulting piece. That solid tree cut line is going to cut that tree out. So you can see all of this beautiful stitching and cut out areas on our final piece. That third tree die that you saw on frame earlier, that piece is to cut out a solid background for you to back the die cut tree. So we're not using that for today. I'm taking my die cut stitched panel and the inner tree piece. I placed both pieces on my 7x9" grip mat, and I blended our Cali blue dye ink along the top and bottom portions of my stitched die cut panel with our wide flat stencil brush. Then I'm going to use our snow globe dies. There are 4 pieces to this collection. I die cut all the dies onto white cardstock, and you can see there are piercing details on each piece. I started off by blending some Cobalt Breeze onto the background globe die cut, and then I added some True Navy, which is a nice deep blue, along the edges of that globe piece. I want to make sure that it's nice and dark along the edges, and then it gets a little bit brighter as we go towards the center of the globe. Next, we're going to use our 6x8" layered wood grain stamp set, and this piece that you see here, the large stamp, this is my wood grain background. So I'm going to stamp this in our lightest shade of brown, which is our warm hazelnut ink, and I'm just making sure to stamp the entire snow globe base with this first layer wood grain stamp. And the leftover ink that you see, I'm just going to blend that right onto the base because I don't like to waste around here. So next I'm going to use the detail wood grain stamp and stamp this onto my snow globe base using our Found Topaz ink, which is our mid-tone brown ink, and I'm stamping in a more randomized pattern. So to do that, I'm moving the block back and forth, and I'm using different portions of the detailed stamp, and I turned my snow globe base piece upside down and sideways as I stamped this piece. Next, I'm going to blend the rest of the Found Topaz that's on my scrap sheet onto the base, and then I actually made that base piece a little bit darker by adding some more Found Topaz on there. Now this little piece that I stamped with our Aspen Cocoa, which you see on screen now, and I also use the Aspen Cocoa for these 2 detailed pieces for the snow globe base. Then I'm going to start gluing the snow globe base pieces together by adding glue to the top and bottom portion of the base piece, and then adding these 2 pieces right on top. Then I'm going to prep my snow globe background with our anti-static powder puff tool. It just has some clay inside, so this is going to act as a nice anti-static agent for our nice detailed sentiment. We're using the Let It Snow sentiment from our Good Tidings sentiment stamp set, which we just released a few weeks ago. I stamped this onto the background with some Versamark ink, spooned on some white embossing powder, and then I melted all that powder with my heat gun. If you're a fan of this sentiment style, check out our Good Tidings set, and it's right here on the screen. So we are going to be using the 2 tree stamps in this set. I stamped it multiple times onto white cardstock with our Evergreen moss ink. I also stamped Santa Sleigh in our Noir ink, and then I die cut all the pieces with the coordinating dies. Then I glued the trees onto the base of my snow globe, and I made sure to vary the height of the trees so that it looks a little bit more natural. I cut off the excess pieces of the pine trees, and now I'm going to use our Holly Bit stamp set. It's a 4x6 photopolymer set. There are 6 stamps in total in this set. There are 2 stamps or 2 layers for the holly leaves, and then 2 stamps for the berries, and then 2 sentiment stamps. For the first layer of our holly leaves, I'm going to stamp it in our Evergreen ink. Then I'm going to take the second holly leaf stamp, and I'm going to align the bars and squares on that stamp onto the first layer stamped image and stamp that in our bright fern ink. Then for the third stamp, which is the first layer of the berries, you just align the bars and squares, and I stamp that in our cherry ink. For the second layer of the berries, I use our lipstick red. And what's great about this set is that there is one die which will cut out all 4 images in one single shot through your die cutting machine. So it's really easy to mass produce these holly bits, which you can use as accents for your holiday cards, which we're going to do today. Next, I'm going to glue our folk tree cover plate die cut onto a piece of white cardstock, which is A2 size, and I just use some of Thermoweb's Ultrabond liquid adhesive. And I'm going to glue both the outer and the inner tree piece for the card today, because I want to make sure that the background is nice and intricate and there's some nice texture going on behind here. So this piece is gonna look really nice behind the snow globe. Now I'm going to start assembling our snow globe. I added some liquid glue along the lower portion of that snow globe base, and then glued the wooden portion onto the bottom of the round piece. I placed the snow globe onto the background, and then I started positioning my holly bits on and around the snow globe. When I was satisfied with the positioning, I started gluing everything together, and the final snow globe piece, I did pop that up with some dimensional foam tape. And then I finally glued Santa's sleigh along the top portion of the snow globe and finished off my card with some of our diamond gem rhinestones. And now my card is complete. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. I'll be updating it more regularly. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.